everybody, it's Renee, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Pom Squad Fitness Instructor, Captain Renegade to be specific. So I am back again with a little bit more self-care for Pom Squad Fitness's February promotion, P.S. I Love You, which is some self-care techniques for every day of February. So today I want to go over a little bit of foam rolling, specifically for the chest, upper back, shoulders, neck, and maybe even headaches. So why did I pick this one? Well, I think there's a couple of body areas that get overlooked when we're working with tension in the shoulders, the upper back, the neck, and headaches. Also, all of us spend a lot of times looking at phones, working on computers, driving, and we all, unfortunately, have a little bit of forward posture. So that's when the shoulders round forward, maybe they're a little elevated, and the head's forward. So if we can get everything opened up and back in line, probably you're gonna feel a little better. Also, when I first started teaching Pom Squad Fitness, because we use POMs in class, I found myself really working hard with my upper traps. And I didn't really need to, but I was ending up with some neck pain and sore shoulders and headaches after class. Since then, I've learned how to keep my shoulders down and away from my ears and use the right muscles for the job. But at first, there was a little problem there. So maybe that's happened to you, or maybe it will happen to some new people you meet. This would be nice if the POMs turn into a little bit more work than you expect. Okay, so the first thing you would need is a 36" by 6 foam roller. This is a low density foam roller. The best place to get these is on probably Amazon, unfortunately. You do not need the high density black with nubs all over it. I never recommend those high density foam rollers. Low density does just fine and it's more comfortable. So I recommend low density 36" by 6" foam roller. I have a mat just because I'm on a hard floor, up to you. Also, if you have long hair, you're gonna wanna pull it back. And I don't just mean back, I mean up. Don't worry about if it's cute or not, but get it on the top of your head. If your ponytail is on the back of your head, you're gonna have to turn your head to one side or the other to do this rolling. If your hair is down, you're gonna roll on your hair and it's not gonna work. So get your hair on the top of your head, get your foam roller. Let's start with horizontal foam roller techniques. When I say horizontal, I mean it's just running horizontally to your body, basically. So go ahead, place that foam roller horizontally. I like to cross my arms just to give them somewhere to go. And you're rolling up and down. So this is, I've got equal weight on each side. And I'm just going back and forth the best I can. I might even just walk my feet away so I can go a little higher. So this is getting muscle, this is fascia. You might even get a little pop out of the spine, and that's not a bad thing. It's called a mobilization of your spine or your vertebrae. If you want to add to that, pull your body into flexion and then roll. And you might get a few more pops out of the vertebrae. Or go into extension and do the same thing. So extend over the roll, and you might get a few more mobs out of your spine. I'm kind of sticking from the rib cage up. That we're getting the latissimus dorsi, low traps, mid traps, some upper traps, rhomboids, some of your scapula muscles, your part of your rotator cuff probably, and your paraspinal. So those are just the muscles that run parallel to your spine. I also like to bias myself to one side. So I'm going to just roll with all my weight right now. This is my left side. So my weight's on my left. And I'm going to do the same for my right. So I'm just going to bias myself to the right. Good. One of the spots that usually needs attention is high on the shoulders, these upper traps. So I'm going to let myself get into a position for that. I'm going to bias myself again. I'm going to let myself go right up onto the shoulders. I almost have to do a bridge for this, just to get right on those upper traps here. Again, I'm a little biased. I'm rolling as much of my weight as I can tolerate right onto that side. Now you can use your movement on the roller, or you can find a spot, like say there's a nice little tender spot here. Then I'll just move my arm instead of moving my body. Mobilization with movement, whether it's a limb or you rolling. I'm going to do the same for the other side. Biasing myself, finding a little tender point, doing a little arm motion. Good. Now, you've probably done that before. So horizontal foam rolling with your weight symmetrically distributed or biased to one side. Now there's a couple of groups of muscles that maybe you miss or maybe you miss when you've got upper back, neck, headaches. Those are your latissimus dorsi and your pectorals. So your latissimus dorsi attach in your mid-back. They're kind of like wings. They're all along the sides of our body, and then they attach underneath our arm bone, the humerus. There are lat pull-down muscles, or like rock climbing muscles. When we have this kind of forward posture, they get short and tight, and we want to help them like lengthen out so that we can sit up, have good arm extension, okay? So this will do just laying on one side. Now, the ribs are more tender, so keep this in mind. We want to get to the muscles, the fascia. Nerves don't want foam rolling. So if you get on a spot and you're like, wow, that's really tender, and not in a good way, please move on. You might be on like a very nervy area. It's not going to be helpful to just push through that pain. Find a spot that feels like a muscle ache. Like, oh yeah, that's a trigger point. Okay, I'll do this here. But if you're on a very sensitive spot, listen to your body. There's a lot of nerves through this neighborhood. So let's do latissimus dorsi. So you're completely on one side and you're rolling on down. It's a little awkward, but for me, right under this arm, that's a spot. Now I could keep kind of rolling up and over, but I'm just gonna pause here. And I'm gonna just give myself about 30 seconds. This is a tender spot for me. Also some muscles here, your scalenes, which are kind of your Arnold Schwarzenegger arm muscles. If you think about bodybuilders when they do that motion, and some of your rotator cuff muscles. So there's a lot here. Like I mentioned, you can just statically hold pressure here. I might add some arm movement. So I'm just trying to help these guys out. It's pretty tender, I'm not gonna lie, but it feels okay. I know it's not a dangerous place for me. And I'm just doing a little arm motion to try to help mobilize some tissue between my ribs and the foam roller. Some of these areas, when they get a trigger point, this one for example, a trigger point is an area that radiates pain somewhere else. And this one can radiate pain up to the head. So sometimes you might have a problem here, but you think you have a headache. when really it's like a muscle that's radiating pain to another spot. Let's see if there's another one. That one was a big one for me. That feels all right. Let's do the same thing for the other side. So again, this is your latissimus dorsi, scalenes, some of your rotator cuff muscles. Oh yeah, so it's tender. It's not, ooh, yeah, there's a spot, hello. Like I mentioned, you could continue to just roll over this spot. You can pause and just put some static pressure as much as you can handle. I'm trying to put all of my weight of my upper body on this spot for about 30 seconds or so. And then what I like to do is, again, add in some arm range of motion, just to use those muscles that are in that neighborhood and say like, hey guys, you don't have to be so tense. You could relax. Maybe it would feel better for both of us if you did. Okay, so latissimus dorsi, you're gonna have to be on your side, find a tender spot, but a tender spot that feels like a muscle ache, not nerve pain. If you get any numbness, tingling in your fingers, that's your brachial plexus. Get off that spot, give it a break. Okay, let's do pectorals. Okay, so a lot of people forget when they're having upper back, neck, chest, head pain about these pectorals. When I'm rolling here, I'm not going over breast tissue. I'm going for this muscle that's right here in your underarm, okay? If you foam roll breast tissue, it's not going to be comfortable. I hope we all understand that. But this area, right in kind of the underarms, that's where some of the pectorals come up and attach. It's a good spot to roll. Same rules apply as the lats. Your brachial plexus is running from your cervical spine. That's nerves that run down to your arm and your hand. If you start to get numbness, tingling, you're not on a good spot. Move just a little bit to give some pressure off of a nerve. So how I like to do pecs. I set my roller at an angle. I am basically on my stomach here. I like to even just rest my head right on the roll. And basically, it's hard to kind of roll. So just sort of move until you're like, okay, that's a tight muscle here, okay? Same rules apply and same method that I used for the latissimus dorsi. So I find a sore spot. I put as much of my body weight as I can tolerate on that spot and I just hold it for 30 seconds. If I want to, I might add a little arm movement just to get that same muscle that I'm putting pressure on. I want to add a little bit more encouragement to relax. And then I might find the next spot. And again, I do that by moving the roller rather than trying to move my body on the roller. And again, I like to just rest 30 seconds or so. This feels like a safe place. It's tender, but it's a muscular tender. My fingers feel fine. And I might add some range of motion for my arm. Usually in this case, like I'll pick 2 or 3 spots. Just, I feel like it's a couple of spots to help me get this muscle to relax a little bit more. Let's try the other side. Same idea. I'll set my roller at a little angle here. I'm basically on my stomach, mindful of the breast tissue, and then I'll just find a tender spot. Honestly, they're pretty easy to find. Most of us have short and tight pectoral muscles. And like I mentioned, I put as much weight as I can tolerate on that. We'll call it a trigger point. That's a little controversial. Some people don't believe trigger points exist. To me, it's just a little band of muscle that is confused and it doesn't know it could be relaxed instead of holding on to some tension. I'm adding in a little arm motion. It's just moving the muscle while the pressure's on the roll. And I'm going to find one more spot. Okay, I'm resting my head. Fingers feel good. I'm not on a nervy area. And I'll do a little arm motion. Okay, good. I want to show you one more thing. So we have done horizontal foam roller, side for the lats, front at a diagonal for the pectorals, and then let's try, I call this vertical foam roller. Okay, so I want your whole body on the foam roller, and I like to put the head right at the very end. Set this kind of like ridge, your occiput, put that right on the edge. Let it kind of just lift your head a little bit away from your shoulders. And then just gently rock side to side. Again, you might get some pops out of the spine. That's okay. That's called vertebrae mobilization. Find a nice center position. Let's do one more little routine, and mostly it's to get some of these chest, upper back muscles to just behave a little more normally. So if you can, take the arms overhead and down to the floor, maybe 3 or 4 times. If you can't reach the floor, that's okay. You can stop when your body says, oh, that's as far as I can go. If you can make it to the floor, make it to the floor. Again, if those latissimus dorsi are tight, you might start to take your arms up and then they might want to bend. Try to keep the arms straight and stop when your arms start to bend. We're trying to get those lats to let you move your arms freely. You could do one arm at a time, 3 or 4 times, just to let the body work symmetrically and asymmetrically. And then sweep the floor, kind of a snow angel. Again, if you can't reach the floor, you can hover. If you can touch the floor, I'd rather have you sweep along the floor. And one arm at a time. Take both arms high and a little chest press. If you can tap the floor, great. If you can't get to the floor, stop wherever it feels most comfortable for you. My goal would be for you to touch the floor. You can do one arm at a time. This is a little bit of a core workout. To be able to balance on this roll while you're moving your arms requires some core activity, so that's kind of nice. All right, take the arms into chest press, rotate external, rotate internal. If you can, set those arms on the ground. If your arms can't get to the ground, you can just hold them wherever they feel like they can stay. And a little bit more, we'll take the arms high and bring the elbows to the sides. Out and in. Keep your arms as low as you can. Good. Then I like to just take a few moments to rest open. If you cannot let your arms rest on the ground, what I would recommend is grabbing a couple of yoga blocks or blankets and bring the floor up, so that your arms are supported and you can just rest comfortably. But if you can, the goal is to get to the floor and just rest and breathe. Maybe 30 seconds in this position. If it feels really good, you could stay longer. You can also try different positions. So if it feels good to drop the hands back, this is external rotation of the shoulders. You could pause here for a few seconds. Same idea. If you can't get your arms to the floor, bring the floor up with some blankets or some blocks. Or you could try internal rotation. Most of us have more internal rotation than external rotation. You can see what my shoulders do when I rotate external versus internal. This is what all of us do all day long, so I prefer open and back. And then I just rest for a little bit longer. And this is just opening up the chest, letting the head sink back. With the occiput on the end of this roll, it's just applying a little traction, pulling your head away from your shoulders. Good. So that is my favorite foam roller routine for shoulder pain, upper back pain, neck pain, headaches, maybe even TMJ. If we get into this position, puts a lot of stress even on your jaw. So the best way to do this is to do it before you have these problems. So if this can be part of your regular workout cool down, or if you can work it into your life a few times a week, it would be great to do this on a regular basis. If you do, maybe you have a headache, maybe you had to drive in some winter weather and you're really tense and really sore, that's a great time to do this. Get the foam roller out if you are having a headache or neck pain or shoulder pain from some new activity you had to do that day, planned or unplanned. All right, so I hope you find this foam roller routine helpful. I do have a plan to show you one more technique for kind of this upper body tension that a lot of us have. So please enjoy some foam roller self-care. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you need some ideas, let me know. I'd be happy to offer some suggestions. All right, otherwise take care, have a great February, and enjoy Pom Squad Fitness.